It's showtime. Okay, we're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We are here with groomers, um, the Pet Pro educators, the Groomers Cut, and we had a week off, and we're looking forward to getting back to our routine. For those of you just joining us, or if you haven't, or you plan on in the future, click the link on the page. This link is going to allow us to see all of your names in the comment section. There are a lot of people who watch, and Facebook needs to have permission for us on StreamYard to be able to see all of your comments and your names. So we don't know who is talking to us or messaging us without seeing that. So we might just call you Facebook user and post you that way. If you want to let us know who you are, we'd love to see your name. So keep that in mind. We have been talking the last few weeks about this Groomers Council. So I know there's a lot of up and down and where's it going. And again, this is just something that we're talking about. We're talking about it. Michelle, we had left off the last time that you were going to reach out to some of the names.
Well, we wanted to circulate the list.
May I be a good teacher here and suggest that we start each recording from the beginning, assuming that some of our viewers will know nothing about it. So
Absolutely.
Michelle, it's your baby. Describe from the beginning as if there are new people that will never have heard what has gone before.
Fair enough. We are talking about electing a national council to debate, research, and come up with standard of care in our industry. This goes a little bit farther than just safety and how to clean your bottles. It goes to the absolute core of what we collectively think is a good standard of care.
Meaning how we groom.
Correct. How you groom, how you handle your animals, what procedures do we all agree that, that's a good way of doing it. That's probably not the best way of doing it. So this will be the standard of care. But I want it to be by groomers for groomers. I want it to be a council that is us. We decide because we're in the thick of it. It was proposed to me that we should have people who have some sort of credential to be on this council as well, because that promotes the commitment to the industry, the commitment to moving forward with your education, and also academia and legal also look for credentials. That's what makes you real, quote unquote. So that's something that we've been discussing. More people than not really love the idea of it. We've had really good response. Since we took a week off though, we actually let that list go and wanted people to spread it far and wide just so we could get the amount of people that we have now and all of their their nominations of who they would like to see on the council, who they believe would be a good fit. So from here on out, I'm probably going to assemble the list and I'm going to make a form letter that we will send to each of those people that were nominated, so that they will send back to me or to our organization their credentials, their commitment, why they would be a good fit for the council, and a little bit of their background, just so that we can start narrowing down. A lot of people who are nominated don't even know they were nominated. I mean, it's just at that raw stage right now. So no worries. This isn't the hard and fast, oh my God, this standard of care is going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to happen like that.
And I want to give some specific
Jennifer,
examples. Yes.
Sorry, I'm just going to cut you off real quick because we do have a guest this evening that's joining us. So this is Sean Gadini. And here we go. So she is traveling around. Hi, Sean. Very nice to meet you. We've messaged back and forth a lot over the last week or couple of weeks.
I am fortunate to know Sean. Yay.
Love all you ladies. I'm so glad to be here.
You look great, Sean.
I'm so flattered. Oh my goodness.
So we should actually say again for the recording of the show that our hostess is Dara Forleo of the Whole Pet Academy in New Hampshire, and Michelle Knowles, All Things Paw, from who is a groomer in Arizona and master groomer and a columnist in Groomer to Groomer magazine. And Sean, you are in California. and tell us
A little
your
about
shop
you.
or your brand or how you want to introduce yourself. Sean, can you hear?
It's really windy here. I'm having trouble hearing you guys.
Do you
Everything's
have
a
a
little bit
headset?
kind of kooky.
Do you have a headset? Try to get a headset if you can.
Oh. We had this problem last time too with
A
someone.
little bit of
also.
audio
Tough.
issues.
Yeah.
Sean, if you have a headset, it would be great if you could
Yeah,
get one.
like one of-
That would help. One of these things. In any case, I'm Jennifer Bishop Jenkins, and I own Love for Dogs in Glencoe, Illinois, and I have the Groomer's Guide seminars. And Sean Gadini, I think, is in Northern California. She'll allow me to speak for herself that way, and she's with the California
I'm having
Professional Pet
trouble
Groomers.
hearing.
So,
Oh,
oops.
I lost her.
It's probably
Okay.
a signal too. She actually
Yeah.
does live in a fairly more remote area, I think.
Right. Mhm.
Beautiful mountains, which makes sound quality, I'm sure, an
Her
issue.
journey looks amazing.
And I'm saying hello to people in our
I know, we're
room.
getting some.
Ashley
We got
Kramer's
Angie.
here. Angie's
Christy.
here. Chrissy Newmar Smith, yay. Lisa Herbold, who is this amazing board member of the Illinois Professional Pet Groomers Association. And she's a vet tech and a groomer. She's amazing. Tremendous resource to our industry. So
Well, while we're waiting for Sean to come back,
Yeah.
we'll finish my thought that
Yes.
from earlier. We are going to make a letter, send it out to all the nominees, and see if they're even willing to commit the time. If they're interested, some of them may be very busy and not have time to commit to this council. So we are drumming up interest, and we will be hearing back from our nominees probably within the next couple of weeks. I hope to send the letter out very soon, and then we'll go from there. You know, at least a lot of the people who were nominated were invited to come into Pet Pro Educators and see what the buzz was about. So hopefully we'll get everybody knowledged up here in a minute.
And one of the things I just wanted to give as an example to people that might be, again, listening for the first time is what kinds of issues, when we say national standards of grooming care and handling care and going beyond the amazing PPGSA standards of safety care and sanitation, which are an incredible document, inspiration, and a real great help to our industry and are really essential in dealing with the legislative battles that could come up in a state. What we're actually talking about is trying to resolve the art versus science questions that are faced in our industry. There are grooming is both art and science. And one of the things we hope that this council will do is actually help to examine data and find out about things like anal glands and about the proper care of the double coat. And when you do have to do a haircut on a dog, how short should you go to protect those Langerhans cells in the skin and all of those things. So there's actually some real science that it would be good to have, people that are credentialed. And of course, the top credential that we have in our field is the Certified Master Groomer. But there are, other credentials I'm sure that people could bring to the table. So I just want to thank Michelle for coming up with this idea, because I think our industry desperately needs it.
It's been a long, long dream of mine to get something like this together, but you know our industry as well as I do, and I'm talking about all of you guys here in the column over here. Wow, we're a tough crowd. So,
And you can't please everybody, right?
Yeah.
You're always gonna.
If we can get the majority of people to come together and just at least talk about it, let's just talk about it. No one's going to tell you, oh, you can't do that. We just want to say, okay, here's why you shouldn't, and let it go with that. But at least you form that basis, that standard, and say, you know what, at least do this at the very least, and then maybe develop more later.
And remembering that, again, that most of what we do is art and wouldn't be subject to any such conversation.
Right.
What we would be looking at
style,
would be
style is
things.
separate.
Yeah, we would be looking at things where there is actual science that would help us to decide issues of controversy, that would give guidelines to new groomers and to grooming schools, and to finally settle for once and for all, questions like anal glands and things like that. Yeah. I think we can do this for the industry, and we are at a time in our history, and this is the history teacher talking here. I'm everybody knows, I think most people that know me know that I'm primarily a history teacher. I have a master's degree in history, and I've been teaching high school and college history for 3 decades. And grooming has always been a side gig, and now it's a full-time retirement job. But I can tell you that we are in a very historic period. We are in a time of tremendous transition, and it actually can be a time of great opportunity for our industry, for us to really settle some things and to really build a foundation. We have been grossly overworked and underpaid as a profession for decades, and it is time for us to come into the light.
Yes. I agree.
It's starting. So that list was phenomenal. There were some great ideas. There were some great names thrown out. There was a lot of discussion back and forth throughout. And now we just got to see where we're going. How you make the next steps. I guess you're right with the step being that forward with reaching out to those on the list and saying, are you game? Are you in? Are we talking for nothing?
Yeah.
I'd like to see as many people participate as possible, and I think it could be worked where we could absolutely extend the vote to whoever is a credentialed groomer, has an owner of a salon, or has a pair of clippers that's been through something. You know what I mean? That we can develop that later on. I know a lot of people are very worried that, oh my God, it's going to make them not be able to groom in their industry anymore. That's not what the point is. The point is actually to protect you from liability. If there's a standard and you adhere to that standard, even the bare bones basic of the standard, and something happens in your salon, a death, an injury, a something, and then what if we, like we do now, all the owners come back and say, well, why did you do this? You shouldn't do this. My vet said you shouldn't do this. And right now we don't have any standards to say, yeah, that's actually an acceptable practice in this industry. That's how it's done. Right now we have no leg to stand on. It's just everybody saying stuff for their own reasons, whatever they may be, and however correct or incorrect, and a mixture of the both. We don't know what we don't know. So it's good to talk about it. It's good to air it out. Let's really look at those things instead of just saying, that's just the way I'm doing it. I'm not changing. Say, wait, what if there were a better way? What if there's a wonderful way that you're just closing your mind to? It's time to open up a little bit and talk amongst ourselves and find out what we collectively think is good standard of care.
And Lisa and some of the other people in our chat room are pointing out how absolutely common this is in other industries, and how every industry, I mean, we are actually notoriously distinguished, not in a good way, in that we don't have this. I don't think people that are, the vast majority of groomers kind of just across the fruited plain probably realize that it is not normal. What we have as an industry in terms of lack of national standards is not normal.
I'm going to try to add Sean in again here.
Not healthy.
There
Yay, Sean, are you back? Better internet signal, we hope, Sean, from California.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, you guys sound perfectly clear. It was weird. We're having crazy winds here. It's like 30-mile-an-hour wind. So, and I'm in my trailer, but it is fiberglass.
Any chance, Sean, that you have a headset?
I will get one.
Okay, next week.
So really quickly, Sean, let us know how you feel about standard of care in our industry.
I'm really on board with all you guys. I've been trying to pay attention. I did leave a lot of Facebook groups. Things are just so crazy. But I agree with all of you guys, whether you're with ISCC or NDGAA or IPG. I think that using the same terminology, like I used to teach at a grooming school, and that book is so, you can't even find that book. It's like Finger and Steinley they had beehives in New Mexico, and it was called the Standard Book of Dog Grooming. But yet, one thing that it seems like they all use the same terminology, the pastern, the phalanges, occiput. Those are things that I think all 3 certification groups are all on board with. They use the same terminology. As far as, like I said, I think all of us who are Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
You keep going. Yeah.
Oh, no. I think that I learned in grooming school literally 29 years ago. We squeezed anal glands. We plucked every hair out of that white standard poodle's ear until it was red, and we cleaned it with an alcohol-based cleaner, even though it was a great grooming school. I think all of us that are
now we know better.
Yes, I think all of us that are kind of against doing anals and against the ear plucking used to do it for years and decades, and that's why we're against it. And so I'm on board with all the things you guys want to do. I think having the same words for the same things, it's not rocket science. It's science. The word for this bone is that. In ISCC, you have to even study the brain. It's the parts of the dog brain are the same as a human brain. So knowing what the amygdala does and what's in the limbic system, those things matter when even when you're learning dog. I was arguing with my 21-year-old stepson about how psychology is someone was calling it like a junk science or a pseudoscience, or he was reading that it should be more of a philosophy. And I'm like, well, psychology is a social science, but it's still a science. It's still based on science and
neurobiology a lot.
And medicine and so. But yeah, I really don't have anything pressing to add as far as I like what you guys are doing. There's always going to be, Debbie Downers and Dougie Downers that, I think a lot of people are against certification. I don't understand that. Like Terry DiMarino always said is, you don't have to be certified to be a great groomer.
Right.
But you have to be a great groomer to be certified.
Yes.
So I kind of always stuck with me is that, hey, put your feet to the fire. If you're so great, you should fly through these tests with no problems, right?
Yeah.
Well, and the reason I think that the certification matters, and a lot of people don't because they're like, well, I wouldn't use it, or I have it and no one knows it and they don't care. Well, you have to market it for one. You have to make it mean something. But certification means that you have done work in front of your peerage and they have approved and they agree that you are then a master. That is more important than any other empowerment thing that we could do for groomers. It is an empowerment issue. If you have a body of your peerage that you trust and that you look up to say, yes, my grasshopper, you have now achieved your master. You get the jacket, you get the trophy, you get the certificate, whatever it means. That means something in our industry.
And there is something to be said. And there is, there's a rule, for example, as a former teacher, I can tell you that when does a word get to be recognized in a dictionary, for example? When does it become official word? When usage makes it so. So it's about the practice in the field that defines it. It's not somebody imposing something on us from the outside. We will define our standards because it's going to come from within us. It's, as you say, Michelle, it is for groomers by groomers. But then the other thing to remember is that there is definitely a lack in our field if we don't do this. I put out this 15 coat types seminar 2 years ago that has just taken off like rockets, and everybody is talking about it, and all it was is based on stuff that every dog show person knows. This kind of coat you hand strip, and this kind of flat coated back you do something different on the back than you do on the underpart. It's all based on the science of the coat types that are very distinctly and clearly and obviously different. And it's all based on different tools and different products that are appropriate for those breeds. Everybody that shows soft-coated Wheaten Terriers knows that what you do to your dog has nothing to do with what the Scotty breeder does with his dog. It's just different. And because the coats are different, because the genetics are different. And yet in most grooming shops across the country, most people who are not well-trained, have never been to a dog show, have never gone through certification, have never been to a grooming conference, have never read a grooming magazine. They don't know that you don't do the same as shave down and shampoo, shave down and same shampoo, same shaving, same shampoo on every single dog. They think that that's just what you do.
It's grooming.
That is not what grooming is. Grooming is a recognition of the individual dog who's on the table in front of you and what that coat is and its genetics, and whether it's even hair versus fur versus, there is some real basic knowledge, and we need to have the language. We don't even have the common language. Now look at IPG, NDGAA, and ISCC, the three major certifying organizations. They have all been around for decades. They have all three survived the test of time. They have been around for decades upon decades upon decades. And they have consistently generated an agreement around standards that is universally recognized and that has stood the test of time. That's what makes a standard. They are organic, but they grow based on usage and acceptance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your seminar is so awesome. That's a great seminar. I've done both of your seminars, Jennifer, and I've done Michelle's seminars. I like how you just, in the 15 coat types, you took what you already knew, and then you added some of this, and you took some Michelle, and you took some skin, and you took some erector pili muscle, and it's just awesome. I think that should be mandatory that everybody take your class.
Yeah. I think the 15 coat types, and that's why I'm going to have to write a book. I know I'm going to get to it. It's got to have to be written down, but it's basically, it's just common sense. You have to do different things with different coat types, and this just has to be put together. I think a lot of people already knew that, but you go to a seminar on hand stripping, and then you go to a seminar on, how to scissor a poodle, and you don't really put the two together. Like, how do they match up with each other? Mm-hmm. And so now we're going to have a list. So Michelle is the one that taught me, Michelle Knowles, right here. She is the one that taught me that you have to differentiate what you do by the dog's needs. Duh.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a life-changing thing. When you teach someone that, or you show them for the first time, it blows them away. And it's something so simple. And I was like that myself. I was a non-believer, until I started really testing the science. Okay, if this is the science, then this should work. Okay, then this should work. And my eyes got bigger and bigger and bigger. And I'm like, oh, this really does work this way. And I was a believer. And then I started studying and I started expanding my knowledge pool. And okay, now what do I learn from that? What do I learn from that? How can I put it together and make it whole? And I'm just busy taking pieces from all of my experience and putting it together like a puzzle. And then all the people that come after me are going to fit all their pieces in, and it's just going to grow and be beautiful, and it'll be real. I promise you. We all have to make this real.
We've got some great comments over here. Sorry.
I was just getting ready to go over there. So yeah, everyone's getting some love over on the sidelines there.
So Dara, you highlight what I'm seeing some great conversations.
Well, let's see. I'm going to scroll through these. I see Angie made a comment here. We have nothing that says why we shouldn't do something. That is very true. And actually, I want to tell a story what happened today at our shop. We had a groom come in, and I did their other dog on Friday, and she had said, I want this, 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 and this. And I'm like, okay, I can do that. And then she said, but I need all the ear hair plucked out. And I said, well, who's your vet? And she's like, oh, well, our vet's in Florida. And I was like, well, all right. So your vet's in Florida because they're snowbirds. So they come back and forth for the summer. So I did what I'm going by, what our vets here in the area said was, this is not your job anymore. We don't want you plucking deep and doing all that. So then when she came in today with her other dog, she was upset. Why didn't you? I told you to do this. I said, again, who's your vet? Let me call them. Well, her vet's in Maine, come to find out. So I contacted the vet in Maine, and the vet clinic in Maine said, "Oh, we've never heard of this. We don't know anything about this. What do you mean that vets around are telling you to not do this anymore?"
The American Veterinary Medical Association is saying,
right?
Don't do
It gets
anymore.
better.
I guess they don't listen to their own national industry.
So then she said, well, we have 2 groomers here, and they always do the anal glands, and they always pluck deep ear hair. I mean, that's just part of their job. They've been here for 20 plus years. I said, when was the last time they attended a grooming expo? And she went,
yeah, never.
So I was like, maybe you should send your groomers to and she goes, to an expo, and she said, well, you just go on and do what, you just do that. We want you to do that. And that's what we're going to stand by.
And
so
I love
mark that vet clinic. They want this done. So.
Oh, no. See, that's where we're different. I would have been like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't provide that service. It's not a matter of you telling me what I'm going to do or not. These are the services that I offer. And if you want that done, your vet actually has 2 groomers that will do that in their facility. Bye-bye now. Literally, they don't get to say what services they get.
Yes.
You offer them the services, they pick from those services. Absolutely.
And we have Ashley that is made a suggestion, the Board of Pet Cosmetology. I love that. Lisa Herbold, who is a vet tech, also a very good one. That anatomy has got to be a part of this. The number of people that don't know that you don't lift a dog's legs sideways because they don't have a rotator cuff. Like we've got this rotator cuff, but dogs only go forward and back. They don't go sideways. Like that kind of thing should be basic knowledge to anybody that handles a dog. Completely agree. And Chrissy Newmeyer Smith is absolutely right. Animal behavior has got to be part of it too. Absolutely. Yeah.
And I like this. Thank you, Ashley. We can elevate our industry.
So Lisa asked another great question. How many master groomers in the U.S.? We would have to ask IPG, NDGA, and ISCC. But I remember I got my master in 85, which was the same year that I got mine the same year that these unknown people like, people who write books. Yes, I don't, a lot of really famous people, got master groomer the same years, and I was not one of them. But I remember being told I was in the first 100 back when there was only one certifying organization, PPGC, which was Pam Lauritsen's, and then NDGAA, and who keeps track of that now? I'm sure there are thousands and thousands and thousands.
I think that there are directory books from each thing that you can actually order, or they have an online directory. I know that IPG has an online directory that you can go to.
The National Cat Groomers does too. They post all of theirs.
And Sean, you're a national CMG. Do you have any idea how many national CMGs there are?
There's a lot now. I'm OR 28. So wow. I did mine 29 years ago in Oregon. So I was the 28th person in Oregon back in 92.
Oh, you guys get like a code. That's so cool.
You get a code.
Yeah, for national,
I have my directory, but
08.
Oh,
the 8th person in India.
Yeah, that's cool.
Bobby.
Yeah, I renewed my master with.
Bobby is number 111 in Colorado. That's awesome. I like that National does that. See, now I'm going to have to go over and get my NCMG. I haven't done that. I got my ICMG. I'm going to have to go get my NCMG.
Well, I got my directory, but I don't know where it is right this second. But I have my national directory of who's a member and who's actually certified. And they even list you if you're just sporting, so that's cool.
Great.
Yeah, and they list you too if you just have 1 certification or 2 or whatever. Exactly. As long as you're a member and you are actively pursuing.
As long as folks understand that what we're proposing in terms of this national council with master groomers and other credentialed people is that this is what other industries do. There is literally not another industry, another trade, another profession that doesn't do this. Lawyers, doctors, accountants, cosmetologists of human hair, plumbers, roofers, electricians, truck drivers. I can't name a profession that doesn't do this.
We're the odd one.
We are.
Yeah.
We are. And it is time that we come into the light, because we are a profession. We are professionals, and we are doing, and I think a lot of people realized during the pandemic, that I know that this happened to me in my shop, that I have never felt so much love and appreciation as when for 6 whole weeks in Illinois, we couldn't groom legally. I had one, and I was doing a lot of client communication. I actually wrote an article in Groomer to Groomer last month about that. And I was FaceTiming and texting and talking with people on the phone, and I made videos for people, and I did consults. I had one guy that had this big doodle that we've been keeping in a long, they've been bringing him in every 2 weeks because they wanted to keep him long, and they were committed to it, and they really, thick hair, beautiful dog, Dewey Odell. And the dad got on the FaceTime with me, and the first thing he said is, "You don't charge me enough, Jennifer," because he's at home trying to brush this dog out. People appreciated us. I think they really do. And now is a critical time for us to capitalize on that as an industry.
Yep. Well, we're at 30 minutes. We did good. We got to keep it to our half hour, girls. Sorry.
There is one
more
I wanted to address.
Yes, go ahead.
Melissa, is there a difference between the certs that we can get from WG3 and what you all are talking about? What do you mean, Melissa?
World Groom 3 is a Barclay certification. It's a Barclay. So it's a web. It's like because they can't hold conferences. They're holding these amazing, and God bless them, they are incredible. And some of them are offering what's called a certificate course. So to take a certificate course does not mean that you are a certified groomer like through IPG, NDG, or ISCC. A certificate course would be like if I went, I can say this as a teacher. I have a teaching credential. I have a master's degree in education. I have a teaching certificate. In order to maintain that, I would have to take so many continuing education. They're called CEUs, continuing education units. And I would have to take so many CEUs a year and keep up my education and keep up my credential. Certificates like that have to do with the continuing education units that happen in every industry. Electricians, plumbers, veterinarians, they all have to do it. And it's quite appropriate that you would have documentation of a course that has some real substance to it. Usually a certificated course is something where you're going to have to really know some knowledge, like you're going to get some science in there. You're going to actually be required to know some, you're going to know what sanitation procedures are okay and what are not. Or you're going to know what products are okay for this particular cat or not. These kinds of courses have a specific level of expertise, and they should become, I believe, in our industry, eventually, they should be called CEUs, like every other industry, continuing education units.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's what Melissa's saying. She said an add-on in sorts. So yeah, these are add-ons to our...
They're CE, they're continuing education.
Right. And we should post those and show those proudly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and we should know soon. Miss Pam, she's trying to make a decision on if November's going to go. I think
we're praying for Pam Lawrence in Dallas. Praying for you.
Yeah. She's and I just passed my Dermatech. I just sent in my final set of videos.
Yay. That is no small accomplishment. The Dermatech course is amazing.
Hours of little bits and pieces of doing my giant white standard poodle. I call her the polar bear, Big Bird. Oh my God, this dog's hair. Anyway, I took little snippets of that, and I actually learned how to use Google Slides. So I'm working on making a slideshow. So hey, if it doesn't go, then we'll be more than prepared for next year. But I'm crossing my fingers. I'm trying to stay optimistic. I might go to Texas anyway. What the heck?
Because
I know, right? Yeah.
Because the four of us were going to be in Dallas together.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah.
I know. We were going to do a live show for Pam.
We
are. You're right.
Even if it doesn't happen, even if it's delayed, it'll just be delayed, not denied. So we want everybody to stay safe.
Nothing's going on with Pam. Pam's deciding whether or not to keep the
The
classic.
show
Yes.
Yeah.
this year.
Pam's
Not
okay.
He hasn't made a decision, and if it is a go, she's going to take a huge hit. But Pam will do a seminar with 2 people sitting there if they want to listen to her.
Yep.
And I hope it goes.
Yep.
And Barclay has to live through this stuff month by month. They haven't decided about Groom Expo in Pennsylvania yet either. So it's so scary.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, thank you, Sean, for joining us this week. It was a pleasure having you on through all your wins.
Awesome lady.
I want to look as good as you. I want a hat.
I
I
know.
want that hair. And oh my God, you look so good,
I
Sean.
was having a bad hair day. That's the great thing about a hat. Is just put a hat on.
You look so good. You look great.
She always looks crisp.
You want to see my new hip? This is my new hip.
There it is.
This is why I'm in a recliner today. I just had my hip
Oh
replaced
my
last week.
goodness!
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
So I can
told
keep up with you
you
gals.
and hip.
Yes.
It's because I fell on my
I got
bike
one of
2
those.
years ago and I got arthritis where I had a hairline fracture. I was exercising on my bike and I got injured. So now I have a new hip. So I'll be dancing around with you next time I see you.
Yeah, you'll be
Very good.
bionic now.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah. So next week we are actually going to be bringing on someone else. And this one's going to be a little different than what we've been doing. So, and I think she's still on with us. Angie Coates is going to be joining us live next week. And with her, she is going to be discussing and talking about the importance of personal safety at the salon. So many of us are women-owned businesses. So many of us work by ourselves, mobile women, house call women, all of you that do this, how you protect yourself. So we're going to have Angie on, and she's going to be discussing with us the importance of that.
And everybody can still go to our Pet Pro Educators Facebook group and vote.
Yes.
You can still nominate people in the National Council for this, the group that's going to try to create some standards of care. And it's still open. It's still a living document. And Michelle, you're going to start trying to reach out to people.
Yes, I will be formulating the welcome letter. You've been nominated this weekend, and hopefully get that sent out to all the nominees within next week. So we'll have a couple of weeks where we'll be hopefully getting those back so that we can evaluate them and see what kind of a crew we can put together.
It's great.
Very good. So, all right. So thank you, ladies, for joining
Thank you,
us.
Dara.
Everyone for joining us this evening, and
Thank you, Sean.
we'll look
Thank you, Michelle.
forward to seeing and talking with everybody again next week and having Angie on. And again, Sean, thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure, and we will see everyone later. Have a great night.